Homegrown solution to local problems is regarded as the best option to tackling issues. The Nigerian military appears to be adopting this option to tackle insecurity across the country. Now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who visited the country's first and leading international armoring and defense solutions provider, Proforce, said we must look inwards for solutions to our problems. Well, General Yahaya, who was impressed with this facility as a company, promised a greater patronage of the Proforce by the Nigerian Army, and Babajide Kolade Otitoju was part of the visit, and he filed this story for journalist Hangout.
Ode Remo, the sleepy, rusty town in Remo local government area of Ogun State, is home to Proforce, Nigeria's first indigenous armored equipment manufacturing company. The town is located a few kilometers off the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Established in 2008, Proforce boasts of a wide range of expanding clientele from within and outside Nigeria, including countries like Chad, Niger Republic, Rwanda, and Ghana.
Finally, this is the rendered view of finished vehicle.
It has a novel partnership with the Nigerian Army, which patronizes its rich array of products. As you approach the Proforce headquarters, a military checkpoint welcomes you to the complex. Recently, the Chief of Army Staff and his team, made up of the Army's Chief of Operations as well as the GOC 81 Division, paid a walking visit to Proforce complex. On arrival, the Chief of Army Staff was conducted around the facilities by the Group Managing Director, Engineer Ade Ogundeyin. After the inspection, it was time to brief the Army Chief about operations of the company. Proforce's Head of Operations, Cardiff-trained mechanical engineer Ayobami Ogundeyin, spoke about the company's array of products, international clientele, and where it projects to be in the future.
Our helmets and vests, which I said I'll briefly talk about, is where we have our MIJ level 3 level protection helmets, which is manufactured here from
Kaode Nariwo is the company's business development manager. He lectured us on the new products on offer by Proforce that will help tackle kidnapping and banditry, as well as trainer aircraft and drones for the Nigerian Air Force.
Open source intelligence. Currently, we are serving the Defense Intelligence Agency of Nigeria, serving as a backbone in terms of using the OSINT tool to come up with solutions around social media criminalities and stuff around that. Then we have the Proforce Air System. Now, under the Proforce Air Systems, we are building, in Nigeria here, we are building what we call the PF drones. Now, the PF drones, already with the Nigerian Air Force, has been demonstrated in Kaduna, and it has come up with massive information in terms of reconnaissance, intelligence, and surveillance for us. The PF drones can have an endurance of 10 hours, 5,500 ceiling, and 11 can carry bombs of 11 kilometers weight, and it can have an operational range of 800 kilometers. Then we also have the PF bomb trainer jets. This is what we are building in Nigeria to be able to train men of the Air Force and even the police air wing, the military air wing, all of them put together.
General Farouk Yahaya, who listened to the presentations attentively, was impressed with what he saw.
Let me first say that I'm very happy to be here. I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm very impressed with what I saw. I have seen the Global Manager before, so I remember seeing him in my office, and I have always believed that the best way to go is to do it yourself. My little experience has shown that the best way to go is to do it yourself. If you rely on anyone to do it for you, often he fails you when you need it the most. Our experiences in the Northeast has shown us so.
He promised continued support and patronage for the company.
I believe whatever we can do to support our own, we should do. At the start, there are usual problems. They cannot be as good as those who started 100 years before us. We improve and improve and improve. I think what is important is consistent patronage and usage, and the willingness of the factory to improve, like he has mentioned. For every time they are input, they are incorporated. We just have to support this adventure and any others across the country so that we can be self-sufficient in our requirements.
The Army Chief urged them to invest more in technology to sustain the growth and development.
We cannot be like those who have started 1,000 years before us, but we can improve, and now with technology, global as it is, we can always improve and borrow from other locations and quickly improve what we are doing. The factory is massive, and what they are doing also, you can see, we have gone through the shops or the warehouse or some production line we have seen. So there will be challenges, but what is important is to remain resolute and continue to charge through the challenges. We are having challenges and we're charging through them. If you should have them, you charge through them like you have done. And together, I think we will improve. In our own relationship, the Army is willing to do its own part, of the bargain. And I urge you also to be consistent in your own.
Proforce's Group Managing Director, Ade Ogundeyin, thanked the Army Chief for his visit and advice to the company.
We thank Nigerian Army for the wonderful relationship we have, the joint venture between Nigerian Army and Proforce. If not for that relationship, we would not have gotten this far. We have Nigerian Army stationed permanently here. We used to have quite a number of people here. We used to do all what we are doing, we are all doing them together. We started with DICON initially, and then with Nigerian Army. What we have done again with the relationship is that we have been able to shorten the production time. Then it was taking longer, but now it's taking shorter because we have perfected a lot of things. The driver is perfected.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
General Yahaya didn't leave the Proforce Industrial Complex without calling for support from the media in the fight against insecurity.
We will continue to also patronize and cooperate with Proforce like others are doing, other services too are doing, and even other agencies, including other stakeholders and civil authority. I think it's the way to go. We all have to put hands together to encourage Proforce and all our other indigenous companies in this drive. Media is a critical stakeholder in everything we do.
We'll continue to offer support.
Yes, so please support. And all of us have no other country except here.
That's true, sir.
We should do everything to salvage it. Sometimes we get carried, we think we can run away.
The visit afforded me a fresh opportunity to catch up with developments at this indigenous tactical weapons manufacturer that has developed a large portfolio of products for the police, the military, and civilian markets. After some checks and safety precautions, I was ushered into the production floor. Here are shells of the giant mine-resistant vehicle MRAP, otherwise known as ARA, and the smaller version, PF Viper.
ARA, the main mine resistance vehicle produced for the Nigerian Army by Proforce. But Proforce is building another mine-resistant vehicle, a smaller version of ARA, and it is called PF Viper. It has all the features of a top-grade mine resistance vehicle, but it is faster because it is smaller, yet it offers the same level of protection. What the Army needs is an armored vehicle that can move faster in its desire to get rid of insurgents in the northeast and other places in our country where they pose a threat not just to the armed forces but to the Nigerian people.
The head of operations, Ayobami Ogundeyin, speaks more on the difference between ARA and PF Viper.
PF ARA is a 15-ton MRAP. What we noticed through our communication with the Nigerian Army is that even though it protects soldiers out there, they've noticed that a lot of attacks that they have is very quick attacks. So being able to mobilize their MRAPs is an issue for them to be able to pursue such insurgents. So what we did here with our design team, we redesigned a brand new vehicle. This is where we got the PF Viper. The PF Viper produces the same amount of protection level as the MRAP. However, what we're looking at in terms of the Viper is something that's more maneuverable, something that's faster. This is 110 kilometers an hour. We're looking at 130 plus with the PF Viper. The engine capacity in terms of a ratio is actually higher than the ARA. As you know, the ARA is 400 horsepower.
Yes.
The Viper is about 275 horsepower. However, is much lighter. This is a 9-ton vehicle. Meanwhile, this is a 15-ton vehicle. So when you're able to pursue such insurgents that are attacking you with Hiluxes or on bikes that are trying to move faster, you're able to pursue them with this vehicle. That's what we're able to provide to the Nigerian Army now. The Nigerian Army has also ordered some of these, and that's what's currently undergoing production here at Proforce.
Apart from manufacturing armored personnel carriers, APCs, mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAPs, armored patrol boats, ballistic helmets and vests, armored civilian vehicles, and cash-in-transit vehicles, Proforce has a vehicle repair and maintenance unit where damaged vehicles are fixed.
This is a maintenance, repair and overhaul division, for short MRO. Here we do the maintenance and repairs of any vehicle that is brought to us. We have clients from domestically, abroad, that have issues with their vehicles, vehicles that have been left derelict and no longer working, vehicles that have even been in accidents, or vehicles that they just feel like there's something that's not right when they were brought to them when it was armored. And here we're able to refurbish all those and to correct any mistakes that we have seen on the vehicle. We've had multiple clients coming in from embassies, we had private civilians, we've had even, as you can see here, the police as well, coming to us to help them to refurbish, to make sure that these vehicles are up and running at all times. When we look at maintenance, we're looking at something that needs to be an ongoing process. The servicing of the vehicle, we're looking at also to make sure that the armoring is still the level of protection.
The Proforce showroom boasts of exotic civilian armored vehicles ready for delivery to clients.
Here we have vehicles that are ready to be delivered that are on display for our clients to see. You are currently touching a brand new Lexus 2020 model, which is currently going out for a state governor. We have here a G-Wagon for a private client, as well as another G-Wagon over there. So this is where we like to show off what we do here, finished product.
These ones, they are fitted with anti-ballistic stuff.
Yes, so all these vehicles here are fully protected. As you're aware, they have run-flat tires inside. We also have the underbelly armoring. We also have full protection, 360-degree protection.
Business Development Manager Raymond Asare Simtim told me how he is working hard to expand the scope of the business through strategic partnerships and the successes being recorded.
Using a lot of defense equipment, including air systems like aircrafts. In the next 10 years, Proforce will be producing drones and supplying them across Africa and the Sub-Saharan region. We've already started our project on an on a 100-hectare land that we are establishing our R&D, we are establishing a test track, a runway for aircraft and all. So in the next 10 years, Proforce is going to be a very big company that is into a lot of defense equipment manufacturing and will be the first and only indigenous company producing all these in Sub-Saharan Africa.
From the moment he first spoke about Proforce intelligence system, I had been really curious, so I asked Kyle Denariwo to throw more light about the unmanned area vehicle being developed by Proforce.
Unmanned area vehicle and trainer jets. Now take them one after the other. The UAVs, as it's called, PF drone, what we have come up with is a UAV that is weaponized, that can release up to 11 kilogram payload bombs, that can also travel as much as 800 kilometers, that also has over 11 hours endurance in the skies. Now, the UAV has a 128 AES encryption, meaning that as it transmits data into the command and control, it is encrypted. It cannot be penetrated into. Now, this drone has been demonstrated, has been used in Nigeria. It's been demonstrated in partnership with the Nigerian Air Force to scan some area of a particular state in Nigeria, one of the states that is giving us challenges, and we saw quite a few things. Then the working with our partners also from one of the countries in one of the European countries, we are coming up with a trainer jet that can be used by the police air wing, the Nigerian Air Force, that can be used by even the Nigerian Army to be able to develop the capacity of our pilots in Nigeria.
Proforce's goal is to become not just a Nigerian leader, but a global leader in the manufacture of military hardware.
Accommodation for over 500 staffs.
It is currently building a 100-hectare Proforce city that will help it increase capacity through the introduction of a research development center, a training institute, an unmanned area vehicle plant, and an MRAP plant capable of producing 400 MRAPs per month for a rapidly expanding continental client base.
How the factory will look like after construction.
Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Ode Remo, Ogun State.
Quite an extensive report by our very own Babajide Kolade Otitoju. So Babajide, what's your view about what Proforce is doing and how do you feel about this?
Well, I feel proud as a Nigerian, and from the moment I discovered this company, I've been really interested in their progress. I pray for Ade Ogunde, the Unilag trained mechanical engineer who worked abroad and decided to come home to set up this kind of company in his country. There is nothing as cheering, nothing as encouraging as seeing young Nigerians struggle to place their country on a global map through innovations, by dint of hard work. And that's what we see with Proforce. Proforce is showing us that it is possible. And I'm encouraged, and I particularly thank God for them, because we are now seeing some African countries show interest in the products of this company. A lot of Nigerians do not know that this company exists. They do not know that there is a wide range of products coming from this company that the country can leverage upon. Well, as we are seeing now, Rwanda approached Proforce, bought armored vehicles that it's now donated to the UN operations in Central African Republic. It was the same thing that Chad did. Chad first bought 10 MRAPs from them. When they saw how good the MRAPs were, Chad decided to place order for a further 90. And some of these MRAPs have already been deployed in Mali and Burkina Faso. You know, there is so much trouble in Mali and Burkina Faso. And Chad is affected by the hiccups, the problems in those countries, to the point that Chad had to send troops to try to keep the peace in Mali. In fact, the commander of Chad Special Forces died in the course of peace operations in Mali. That's to tell you the extent to which Chad is trying to help stabilize those two countries that are its neighbors. So Chad is patronizing Proforce. Ghana also placed order for cash in transit vehicles. So Proforce is already looking like an international armoring and defense solutions provider that we can no longer see as purely a Nigerian company, but a company that other African countries are already showing interest in their activities. And I think that the more they innovate, the more they come up with ideas, and the more they also partner with companies from other nations that can provide some of the things that we lack here, help them to provide such things, help them to produce such things, the more Proforce will gain traction and relevance in our country. For example, when we're talking about unmanned area vehicles, everyone knows that if we had drones, we will be able to deal with crime much better than we are doing currently. Because with the drones, you stand no risk of losing your pilot. It's an unmanned area vehicle, and once it delivers its munitions on any target area, it goes back to base. Nobody is manning it. Now, Proforce is working with the Nigerian Air Force and building unmanned area vehicles that can stay airborne for 11 hours. This is Nigeria. People will find it difficult to believe that these things are happening. But until you go there and see what is going on, these are Proforce's products, the mine resistance vehicle. Until you go there and see, you will not believe that within our country and in a place like Oderemo, where the late Oba Adeolu Eleyimi was king, such a thing is happening. So Proforce is a Nigerian success story, and it's a success story that can get better if the army continues to patronize it, if the government continues to patronize it and even help it to become bigger. I'm encouraged by what the Chief of Army Staff said, that look, we need to look inwards. And he's also saying that look, if the Chadians can patronize you as much as they are doing, we will patronize you a lot more than the Chadians. That's the sort of thing that I want to hear from a Nigerian, to a Nigerian company that is struggling to be successful at its line of business. Indeed.
Chiwaloke, from what Babajide has said, definitely Proforce seems to expand in its global clientele base. But beyond bridging the importation gap, how can a thriving armoring and defense company be of benefit to Nigeria at this time?
Yes. It's a record development, against the backdrop of what we are facing in Nigeria currently. Nigeria is under a siege by bandits and terrorists in the northeast and the northwest. I'm sure that if they had advanced or established much earlier, Nigeria couldn't have had the disgrace we had in 2014, when an aircraft that contained $9.3 million meant for buying arms in South Africa was seized. Because ordinarily, based on the fact that Nigeria in 1964 established Nigerian Defense Corporation in Kaduna, got a German company that set it up, gave it the capacity to produce the weapons that we needed. If they had succeeded, perhaps Nigeria wouldn't be going abroad to, import all the military hardwares and weapons they needed. But this company has now come to, fill a void, a very big void for that matter. It was an opportunity Nigeria missed shortly after the Civil War. Because during the Civil War, the East, the Biafrans, were manufacturing, fabricating, weapons.
Yes.
And vehicles like this. If you go to Umuahia War Museum, you see some of them. For anybody who has read General Alaba Sama's book, he wrote a war memo in 2018, The Tragedy of Victory. The tragedy of victory. How the Nigerian leadership and the military establishment mismanaged the benefit Nigeria ought to have, gained from that war. Because all over the world, most nations emerge out of the ashes of, civil wars to become better nations. Rwanda is one of them. Even in the US, it was through the Civil War that was led by the North-South dichotomy over slavery that the Emancipation Proclamation by Lincoln was done. That was the end of slavery. It was a gain from Civil War. But here in Nigeria, the Civil War ended. The nation called Nigeria never took advantage of that to develop their military-industrial complex. That is why an agency such as this is coming out lately to fill this void. Now, it will help the nation a lot if they continue to advance, in reducing our status as an import-dependent nation for everything we need.
Well, we'll discuss more on this very issue. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll be back on Journalist Hangout. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, it's still on to Journalist Hangout, and we're talking about homegrown solutions to a local problem of insecurity. And we'll be discussing Proforce. Babajide a while ago gave us a bit of a report about the military hardware company, which is in Ogun State, Oderemo. So, Babajide, could you tell us a little bit about the benefits now of this thriving armory and defense company in Nigeria?
I think if we work harder at this and the company gets tremendous support from government, Nigeria can become the military weapons manufacturing hub of this part of Africa. South Africa manufactures weapons, just like Brazil and some of the countries that we were at par with after our independence. But those countries have left us behind now. There's no reason, if Brazil can be manufacturing even aircraft, there's no reason for Nigeria to not be in position to do that, because the Defense Industries Corporation was set up for that. But at a point, DIC in Kaduna was producing furniture instead of producing military hardware. So I'm saying that if Proforce continues at this pace and it gets the support will enable it to perfect its operations, make the things that they do even better, because constantly they are interfacing with the military. You can see, I was talking about the PF Viper, which is a smaller version of its mine resistance and the ambush protected vehicle MRAP. It is faster. It is, in terms of the weight, it's just 7,000 kilograms. It's not as heavy as the 17-ton MRAP, the ARA, but it offers the same V-hull mine resistant kind of protection under the belly of the vehicle, so that we can glide over the mines and nothing will happen to it. Yeah. So apart from being potentially a hub for weapons manufacturing in this part of Africa, it will also save us foreign exchange. When you look at the time that it takes to bring in weapons, you want to buy weapons, the time that it brings in some of the bureaucracy that those countries that we import from put on the way, the certification, how long it takes to obtain that end user certification, you know that it pays to patronize your own. An MRAP of the size of ARA would take Proforce 3 months to build. A police armored vehicle would take Proforce just 2 weeks to build. Now, if you order for those ones,
it will take longer.
You can't even tell when it will come. See how long it took us to bring to Kano. To Kano that Trump approved his sale to Nigeria shortly after he became president. They were delivered this year. The second part have not even been delivered. So apart from that, there is also the provision of jobs for our people. Sure. Because when you have this kind of company, I went there, I saw so many people. Those of them who are producing the bulletproof vests, those of them, so many, they sew the jacket, then they slot the ballistic stuff inside so that it provides protection both for the police and even individuals. There are so many people working there. That's employment that man is providing. And he has, in Transamadi in Port Harcourt, he has an office. There's an office in Abuja, office in Lagos. So that's someone providing employment to our people. And the taxes will be paid to the Nigerian government.
Right.
So it's not like helping the economy of another country to thrive. When you go to buy stuff from them, it's still your own country. So many advantages, so many benefits that come with setting up this caliber of company in a country like ours. That's the point.
Indeed. So, Chemaloke, when Proforce, we understand, helping countries like Nigeria to build an industrial complex, shouldn't Nigeria be thinking of something like this? What are your thoughts?
Yes, as I pointed out earlier, that was exactly why Daikon in Kaduna was set up. But after the Civil War, Nigeria abandoned that project. It abandoned the project. If you read, as I mentioned earlier, the tragedy of victory, Alaba said in the course of the Civil War, there were missiles Nigeria imported from Russia that were traveling 23 kilometers. But the ones fabricated by Professor Godian Ezekwe and all those brains that were behind the fabrication and manufacturing of local equipment, were traveling 25 kilometers. And that would set a kind of alarm bell that this is a serious matter. So that's a company that ought to have, been doing what Brazil is doing. Brazil is the 24th largest arms exporter in the world to 21 countries. Imagine the kind of huge revenue that brings to the ports of that country. And in Brazil, there are so many of such companies, and every 2 years, the organize a kind of, arms fair. Arms fair for people to come and watch their production and possibly, buy from them, because the globe or the world is in perpetual, conflict. So there will always be, a need for weapons, for procurement of arms. Even when you are in peace time of peace, people stockpile arms, waiting for the eventuality. After the Civil War, who ever thought that Nigeria would be facing what it's facing now? Nobody.
Nobody, it's true.
Nobody. And even if we get out of this, who is sure that the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you will not see something like this, or even something worse than that. It is, that is why militarily nations are always prepared, and they don't, they don't allow themselves to be caught unawares.
Babajide, when you rightly pointed out that these vehicles, are well, produced and all of that, but talking about the fortune, these armored vehicles could cost, maintaining them definitely could be a problem.
Yes.
What do you think the government can do about this?
For me, even maintaining them is as important as buying them. First and foremost, we must buy the best for us. I still give the former Chief of Air Staff credit, because he chose the Tucano bombers. I remember sitting in front of him in Yola and asking him why he chose Tucano instead of going for maybe an F-16 or F-14 Tomcat or even the F-15 Eagle, F-15. So he said, look, you must buy what is best for your country, best for your environment. We have no less than 20 different types of MRAP in the armory of our army. Some of them have all kinds of issues, overheating, suspension issues, electrical issues. But the point I'm making is you must identify what is best for you. And we must set up maintenance facilities. Different parts of the country where we have conflicts, so that they can be fixed right there. We should not just have what in the army they call graveyard of armor tanks and the rest of them, because these things cost a fortune. You can imagine buying a piece of military hardware for as much as maybe $200,000 or more. How do you after buying that, allow it to rot away after just a few months of using them in the theater? But that is the problem that we have. We must invest even in the right engineers, people, train them, improve the capacity of our own engineers within the army and outside of it, who will help us put this equipment in tip-top shape, so that anytime we are ready, they are ready. I can tell you today, the Nigerian police, a lot of the APCs that they bought, a lot of them are no longer serviceable. We buy unmanned area vehicles, a lot of them no longer serviceable. We have a problem with maintenance, because we do not take maintenance seriously. So we've got to set up such maintenance facilities everywhere. At Proforce, they have an MRO. That unit helps them, helps to revive a lot of disused vehicles and all that, armored vehicles. We need to, government must consciously invest in such facilities, so that the army can revive a lot of its abandoned and disused armored tanks and the rest of them.
All right, and that's where we can leave this discussion for now. Thank you very much. But let's